Hi everyone, this is Fictional History Channel. I'm Hofnung, and today we're going to talk about what if the Cold War was part 2. You can check out the part 1 linked in the description. Japan at this point will roughly the same as in our world, but we could assume Britain will direct more attention to their Asian holdings since they're peaced out with the German. The only noticeable difference I could honestly see is that Papua and Burma might not be conquered fully, but other than that, it's mostly the same. Following the peace treaty, the Soviet Union will help their promise to give Eastern Europe their independence, with some Soviet influence as a buffer against the West, and a unified Germany and a Republican Spain in the West will be reconstructed. Communism might be more popular as the Soviet wouldn't do something like invading Hungary and Czechoslovakia. Communism across Europe will be more popular as said before, as many communist political parties in the West aren't banned and still have strong ties with the Soviet unlike our timeline. Spain especially will be very close to the Soviet because of their moderately left-wing ideology. The Cold War still started, but to a lesser degree, and a Japanese defeated in the East and a communist victory in China. And communism will become even more popular, as countries like Korea and Vietnam didn't get divided like in our timeline, but become fully independent, which later will have a moderate left-wing ideology, aligned to the Soviet and China. Many countries will slowly become communist through a democratic election. This went out for decades. All this will make the USA very paranoid and have a much worse Red Scare, and then in the late 1990s, Germany, Austria, and Italy fall into communism or some sort of socialism. And this will strike fear into France and Britain as they would turn more brutal in keeping the communists down and make them reliant more on the US. Meanwhile, the Americans themselves didn't really have the best time either, as Peru and Argentina fall into communism, as well as this make the US really panic, especially after Mexico and Cuba also join into the communism, in which the US have enough and strike their neighbor. America will easily subdue both Mexico and Cuba, but they will become more of a problem than they are worth, as guerrilla fighter will make the occupation really difficult, and this will tarnish American reputation in the world as China and Soviet will condemn American action on Cuba and Mexico. Meanwhile, in the Middle East, the Arab-Israeli conflict will ensure that the Arab world, and to extension, the Muslim world, as well have better relation with the US. Back over in the Americas, there's some shenanigans happen in their internal politics, which I don't really understand, but let's just assume a second American Civil War happened. And this will remove American influence over France and Britain, and they will soon fall into some sort of moderately socialist government, either from an election or from a revolution. This could honestly go forever if I want to, but here's what roughly the map of the world would look like. From the start, the West, the North American will be dominated by a socialist country that is mostly liberal, while the South American continent will look exactly the same, at least territorially. In Europe, there will be some sort of EU alliance, like in our world, but communist of course, and the African continent will fill with dysfunctional state, no matter their ideology. But naturally, they will bounce back to a better state over time. The Middle East will be unstable too. Turkey and Arabia will start using Islam to destabilize Soviet influence in the region. In India, there will be a large united Indian state that is moderately socialist, and in East Asia, there's a united Chinese state with an isolated Japan. Then, in Southeast Asia, the Indonesian will fall under the People's Communist Revolution, while other countries will also fall under some sort of communism or socialism, and the oceanic countries will have a similar government to our timeline but more isolationist. Oh boy, I think that's about it for this world. But of course, not everything is perfect. There's still plenty of problems across the world. But for now, this is where I close the scenario. I would have made this hours longer, but I need to upload and it's too confusing to just continue from this point. Anyway, thanks for watching until this point, and I hope you the best day ever. Goodbye.